Hey folks, hope you've been having an amazing day at TechFlix 2022. My name is Suhas Motwani, and in today's workshop, we will be covering some interesting insights into the community-led growth model and how you can do it too. This one is going to be slightly different from your other sessions, so I'll quickly walk you through the agenda. We will be covering the role of a community manager and what is community led growth. Then we will uncover what product led growth versus sales led growth versus community led growth really means. We will also touch upon when you should start considering to build a community and tons of examples from around the world on how you can build an amazing CLG strategy. So let's get started right away. First up, since many of y'all are from the developer background, from QA, from testing background, and also some founders here, let me ask you a quick question, right? You think good developers are rare? I'm sure most of y'all agree, and I do too. Yes, definitely they are, right? But there is something that is even rarer. Do you want to take a quick guess? Any guesses? Yes, most of you all got it right. Not in my words, but in fact, I will quote Naval on this, where he says, proven community builders are even rarer and higher leverage than proven developers and designers because there's no school or playbook, right? So in your organization, if there are community builders, and I'm sure there are, please do go give them a shout out. They have a very, very tough job, and a shout out from you might just make their day, right? So starting off on that note, we will not go too deep on what communities are, because I'm sure, given that you are all part of this wonderful community at Test Drive, you do recognize the power of a community, right? A conference like this wouldn't have been possible without the power of communities. But in today's session, I'd love to go deeper into community-led growth, right? One interesting insight I came across while presenting this deck was the number of Series B plus companies building communities has increased from 33% in 2020 to a mammoth 80% in 2022. Right, that is a rapid expansion, and that is exactly why you see communities are the in thing today. Right, anywhere you go, people are talking about, hey, how do we build interesting communities, right? And for brands, for companies, the term that has come to the foray is community led growth. So let's uncover a definition. It is definitely not the only definition, but one definition of community led growth is how can you adapt or how can you bring together the connection plus interaction of your really core group. And this, if you can prioritize over transactional growth or transactional marketing, this really uncovers a powerful moat for your company, right? So prioritizing the connection and interaction of your early users, of your core users, can help you grow multifold, and we will see that in the coming slides, right? So that is a very, very easy definition for you to understand here. What is community led growth? How do you differentiate this from sales led versus product led, right? Let's get into that now. For years together, sales teams and marketing teams were the main drivers of growth for the biggest tech companies, right? Think of your industry leaders like IBM, like Microsoft, like Oracle. If you didn't have money to invest in these areas like sales and marketing, you were unlikely to find any success, right? Even if you had a much better product. So it was super important for you to put those dollars where it mattered. But over the last decade, what we have seen is an explosion in the product led strategy, or PLG, like it's usually called. This is driven by how easy it is now for SaaS companies to distribute software online, right? Think of your Slack, think of your Dropbox. They've done a fantastic job at this. And founders knew that if they created products that users preferred, they could compete with established brands. That is something that they already knew. Think of user-friendly UIs, think of free trials, think of helpful customer success and support teams, think of all the content that you see around you. All of these are small things that have added to this kind of a growth, right? In my previous session, I had gone deeper into how Slack does it. Not for today, but if you want to check that out, please do check it out online. It's a very, very interesting way. The small features that they've been able to build over the years. It's a case study in itself, right? But now, what I feel is the next step is definitely community led. We've seen this expansion, we've seen this acceleration over the last 2 years. It does not replace product led growth. That is for sure. It does not replace product led growth. But what it instead does, it builds on top of product led growth by harnessing the power of existing customers and the natural desire that all of us have while building this community, right? So think of products like Figma, Notion, Coda, all of them have done an amazing job with this. In fact, I discovered this slide from the Tribe blog. Do check them out. They're a fantastic tool as well. Lots and lots of community builders use them to build white label products. I will also go deeper into how Notion does it. So if you're interested, do stay tuned till the end. Interesting flywheel model that Notion has been able to create over the years. Right? So little start into, hey, how does community-led models really work? Now what we will do is we will go deeper into the framework, right? So if you are a community builder, or if you come from different domains but you think you're interested in this, do check this out. I think this is something you can screenshot and keep. On the left, what we see is community is at the center. The first circle, right, the inner flywheel, as we'd like to call it, is essentially your trust, relationship, engagement, and content, right? Content and engagement are two things that drive your community. Think of content here that can help you nourish your community member. They get really, really interesting insights. Engagement is vital to your community. How do you help your members connect to each other? And you can only do this by building trust and relationships, right? Can you connect your community members one to one? Can you connect them in groups, right? Can you really build trust between them so that your community grows in a healthy way? So before you go out, maybe selling your product to them, maybe building your product with them, it is important for you to form a really interesting, really strong inner flywheel. On top of this, now what you can do is bring in where your product team, your sales teams, your marketing teams can work together with your community, right? So imagine in the case of product, your product managers and your product teams should always have a customer centric approach to building product. This is something we all agree. And where better to interact with your customers than your own community, right? So build with your community, not for your community. And then comes your sales and marketing community. I think marketing and community should go hand in hand, because you want to ensure that one cohesive message goes out to the community. Sales, what I would suggest is they can create some amount of boundaries, right? So as and when you start building some trust, it is not a direct sale. You're not selling to your community members, but you can add value to them. And if they get value from your community, they are going to convert, right? So it's a very healthy way of them discovering your product, using it, loving it, and then converting, right? So this is how different communities can work based on a very, very strong community. And this is why you're seeing community led growth become so popular, right? So in case your companies are also thinking along these lines, I know many of you all might not come from a traditional community background, but today or in the future you are going to work closely with them, right? So if you want to go deeper into community and you come, say, from a technical background, do explore developer relations. I think that is a very fast growing, most major big companies have very, very strong devrel teams. You can definitely explore that. What I would like to unlock next is give you some examples, right? Some examples of companies that I feel have been killing it. First up, we will cover a consumer company. Although Peloton's stock price has crashed over the last couple of months, I think this community has come really, really far in terms of how strong they grew together. Of course, this is cause based. I think it's a focused community because they came together with a common motive of, hey, we want to be fit, we want to be healthy. And in the pandemic, everyone wanted some amount of connection, right? So they've done a fantastic job in terms of, and two features that I've highlighted here is the leaderboard concept and the high five. So go deeper into it. If you are building community, they've done a fantastic job with this. Next up, we will go to the extreme end of a B2B enterprise giant, right? Many of you all might be working at similar companies. What Salesforce has done with the Trailblazers community is fantastic. In fact, it is a playbook of sorts. So if you are working in a parallel company and want to start your own community, definitely double down on this. I think what they've been able to do is unlock meaningful interactions between their members. They've been able to bring those shared goals. And one thing I'd love to highlight is before you consider starting your own community, right, for your own brand, be honest with yourself. Does your product create a meaningful, sustained experience between enough people? And do you have this common goal, right? If you have that, your community will grow much, much stronger. We've seen that in Notion's example, right? Notion, and the reason I picked this, I'll go deeper into Notion as well, but this is your prosumer audience. What Notion did was they haven't spent $1 on marketing efforts. traditional marketing efforts. Of course, now you see billboards, etc., but without really sponsoring too many of these conferences, etc. What they've gone on to do is create a very, very strong community on Reddit. It's a subreddit with more than 200,000 members helping each other. Right, to get to that stage creates tremendous effect, but today it is a moat that no other platform can overcome. Right, imagine there are so many other tools to become the next Microsoft Office. I think Notion is closest to that. So if you are a Notion user, imagine I will unlock that. In fact, over the next slide, what I've tried to do, I found a really interesting deep dive on the No Good blog. Pick that up and tried matching that way back with our inner and outer circle framework that we saw. All right. So on the left, you have a nice little template. Please feel free to screenshot this. In fact, you could go down to the No Good blog and go deeper into it. But this is how you can build the inner and the outer framework or the circles for your particular brand community. You see the center. This is where you can add your brand community. There are a bunch of things that you can do on your internal circle and on your external circle. Let's take Notion as an example, right? I'd love to highlight three main things. There are, of course, too many good things that they've done. But first up are the YouTube tutorials, right? They got their members, they got them excited to create tutorials, which created another flywheel for them. This is user-led growth. This is user-led content that's coming very, very well for them. Next up is your Reddit community, like I mentioned, very, very strong. Help them in beta testing, help them create templates, help them blog, help them in community events, help them in support, like tons where your Reddit community came together. And last up, but definitely not the least, it created a parallel economy, right? Today, Notion thrives on a huge amount of a template layer, right? No one wants to start from scratch. So this template layer is something that is really driving a flywheel for them. Not easy to get to here, but a strong inner flywheel has really helped them support a strong outer flywheel. Definitely lots of other good things going for them, but these are three that I'd love to highlight. This is something you can create something very similar for your community as well. Do let me know if you are building communities. I'd love to chat. If you have any questions, I'll be happy to take them. I come to the end of my presentation for today, but I'm active on Twitter. I'm at Motwani Suhas. If you have any questions, I'd love to jam with you. You have a fantastic rest of the day. Hope you found this insightful. And if you are ever in Bangalore or in Warsaw, I'd love to jam, grab coffee with you. Have a fantastic rest of the day. I'll see you, folks.